Thank you so much, Kim. That was beautiful. Now is our sweet time of meditation, so I invite you to get things out of your lap and get those feet firmly planted on the floor. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, and we're going to take some deep breaths in, breathing in and breathing out. We just take this time to let our bodies relax and tell our minds not to worry about what's coming next, but to just be present here and now in this moment, allowing ourselves to feel a few moments of relaxation as that deep breath, that breath of God, breathes us in, and then we let go with our exhale, just allowing that breath to bring us to this quiet place where we can truly open our minds and receive that which Spirit has for us. I invite you this morning to think about something that your heart has been wanting, some desire that you have had that has yet to come to fruition. It's something that Spirit has been tapping or nudging that you would like to see in your life, whether it's financial or relationship or whatever it is, a project perhaps. And once you've got that particular thing in your mind, I invite you to imagine yourself being or doing that thing, seeing yourself receive that gift. And I invite you to feel what that feels like in a moment of silence. Having received your heart's desire, you should begin to feel a smile on your face for this accomplishment, for receiving this gift of Spirit that's been tapping. And so this morning, I want to read to you out of Catherine Ponder's book, Open Your Mind to Receive, what she says is an agreement meditation. So I invite you to just take these words in now. I came into this life equipped to meet every demand the world makes upon me. But I must be willing to cooperate with life, so life can cooperate with me. I declare every situation in my life a success. I have never failed in any experience because I learned from it. Always there is room for agreement. I grant its presence by agreeing with the good. Then I withdraw in peace. As we surrender into the knowing of our first principle of unity, which is there is only God. God the good, God the love. There is only God. God is our source. And all the universe is waiting for us to do is for us to get into alignment with that which Spirit has for us, so that we can open our arms wide and receive the gifts of Spirit, whatever it is in our life, whatever is our heart's desire. And so I invite you to feel what it feels like to have it, and claim it, and know it is already rightfully yours, here and now, in this moment. Nothing holds you back from your good. And so we say thank you, indwelling Spirit, for this sweet time of remembrance of how precious and special we are and how powerful we are as divine expressions of the one mind, the one heart, the one God. And now we begin to bring our awareness back into the room, feeling such gratitude in our hearts for all that we know and all that we are. And whenever you're ready, just open your beautiful eyes. So this morning, my whole talk is this book, 20 Minutes of Catherine Ponder's Open Your Mind to Receive is our talk title for today, because we are venturing into our Thanksgiving week and we want to be able to receive all the good that we can, right? So she has a chapter in there called Your Gift of Growth and Expansion. And she talks about 3 sort of basic steps that happen when we are trying to bring into manifestation something in our lives, some steps that we have to go through. And I have sort of a personal story, and many of you know my story, but maybe not from this particular context. So I invite you to bear with me, because the first step is sort of like that planted seed, you know, a divine idea comes about something that you want to do, or perhaps someone is encouraging you to go in a direction that maybe you hadn't thought about. So for me, I was a geriatric social worker for 25 years, and I kept getting tapped to come into ministry. So I did everything that I could to do everything but ministry. So I did licensed teacher, I did prayer chaplain, I did all these steps and thought I was done, and I still kept getting tapped. So we get an idea sometimes and it grows in us. And the second step is, so when you get tapped like that and there's nothing that you can do, you have to do it. You just have to do it. You have to live out this thing. And so the second step is you do all the things that you are guided to do. You go to school, you take the class, whatever it is. And so I did all of that. And Ellen Debenport says in Hell in the Hallway, Light at the Door, sometimes that waiting time is the worst, because you feel like, okay, I've done everything. Where is it? You know, what's happening? Why isn't it here? You know? So when I got done, I was waiting. I was asking Spirit, so what is my next step? Where am I going? Because I knew I was finished in my previous ministry in Texas. And I wasn't getting any answers. And months went by, and I was like, okay, I did everything you said. Where is my church? Where am I going? And then, of course, enough time went by, And I contacted the right people and took the right steps, which was to contact Unity Worldwide Ministries. And then I found this little church here that was looking for leadership. And then the rest is history. So the third step is harvesting all of that waiting that you did in step 2, which is often the hardest thing for us. So I had a definite quickening when I saw this picture of this church on the website and the little fountain and the little Unity Church of Peace, and my heart almost jumped out of my chest. And so there was no way I could not explore what was going on here. So, and of course the rest is history, 8 years now. So we have a theme, and this is our last week. We've been doing all through the month of November, Grateful for Abundance. And we've been kind of looking at finances. All year, we have done all these different aspects of our lives. We've spent a whole month looking at all of these aspects and how to be the best we can be and have spiritual practices in place to do this work. And so if you want to catch up, all of those are on our website. All of the archived services are there if you want to go back and catch up with some of them, because Grateful for Abundance this is the last Sunday because we're getting ready for Advent next week. And so we have a sweet affirmation that we've been saying. This is the last time. Let's say it together with gusto. With clear intention, I open wide to the flow of divine abundance in my life. And we don't really know or care how it flows into our life. We just are here to learn how to be open to receive the good which God has in store for us. So what we're talking about today is, how do we develop a prosperity consciousness? Well, the very first step is what we already talked about in meditation, and that is to know that God is our source, that God is our supply. So it's basically claiming principle 1, which is what? God is all there is. God is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. God is all there is. And so we are here to learn about how we can claim that knowing that God is our supply, and quit thinking that our job is our supply, or our retirement check or Social Security or something else is our supply, because those are just mechanisms. Our supply is always the goodness of God. And the big part of learning how to do that and claiming that is, where is our faith? Where are we placing our faith? And faith is probably the most essential factor in the metaphysical approach to prosperity, because it is with great affirmative power of the universe working in and through us with the assurance that God is our supply. And when we recognize that this is the case, then we can see how we are deserving of all the prosperity that we can possibly imagine. And so the second step, after we understand that God is all there is we have to get rid of this thing that we call fear of lack. You know, we get stuck there sometimes, don't we? Especially after hurricanes or losses in our life, things that happen, health challenges, things come around and we're like, what? So there is no lack anywhere in the universe. Everything that you need is already here, ready for you to receive it and to claim it. So we don't need to do anything, except we have to get rid of the fear of lack that's in our minds, that's in our thoughts. That's our biggest challenge, you see, because it lives in there, and it nags us, and it nags us to think that we don't have what we need, or that somebody else has more than what they need. We should have some of what they have. Those sorts of things kind of take us away from our faith. They take us away and they put us in that fear. But when we can release that fear of lack, we can move into and focus on the truth of our abundance. So where is our focus? We have to be following our guidance. And so the next step in that process is concentration. So where are we? What are we thinking about? What are we talking about? You know, the power of your word is very, very crucial when you speak into the universe that which you want. And so where is your focus? Where are you concentrating on? And so that's the next step. And you know what? There is nothing that you can't have when you get control of your thoughts and your emotions. That is where we run into problem, where that fear comes in and we start thinking negative things. We start seeing lack and feeling lack. Well, then we have to turn it around, don't we? We have to get back into our positive affirmation mode and focus on the good that is right before us. Because when we can be grateful, our hearts are open. You know, when we're worried about things, we're all constricted, and then we can't receive the good. So it's so important for us to be grateful for everything that's in our lives, even the things we don't like that are teaching us something. Because we're all learning lessons, and some of us are learning bigger lessons than others, right? We're walking through this stuff together. So we have to be relaxed. We have to meditate and pray. And like we did in meditation, we have to see ourselves having the good, having the desire of our hearts. It doesn't come from a frantic trying to make it happen. Do you understand? That's a tight, closed down way. It's like, we have to surrender and relax and allow and trust God, trust Spirit to give us those ideas for what it is we need to do next. And so meditation helps us relax and focus and get clear. Well, I want you to know this week I was here doing something in the church, I don't know, some meeting or something, and I was inspired to go pick up this little book that we published, Telling Tales, the sequel. It's our book. It's all of our folks here that wrote stories in here. And so I wanted to share this one that Joan Welker wrote because it's short and sweet, and it describes the kind of consciousness that I'm talking about here. Joy by Joan Welker. I want to enter into the stillness of my mind and linger there a while amid the spokes of thoughts unsaid. I want to sit a spell on peace and tranquility, then wade into the fountain of joy and feel it bubble over my toes. Then I'm going to walk in the valley of happiness and fear not, to feel, see, and touch abundance in all things. Later, I may free fall into the galaxy of my celestial being, then return to sleep for a while, cupped and nestled in the hand of God. Wow, do you get that? I know, right? The talent of our congregation. Do you feel that consciousness? I get God bumps when I read that. That's how come I knew I had to share it today, was because it's about joy. We are vibrational beings. And when we are being that which Jesus the Christ taught us to be, when we're here to show our love and show up as the love expression and be the peace that we came here to be, things just flow better for us because we're in that open, receptive mode to receive, and then we're also more able to give. I love it because it's an example. Joan's work is an example of how we need to be. Not do. I know we think we're human doings, but we're human beings, and we're just supposed to be. Like, be still and know. Be still and know your God. It's right from the scripture. Be still, be still. So talk about scripture. You know, those of you that are new, we don't interpret the Bible literally. We interpret it metaphysically. And so today we're in James. We're in the first chapter, and we're on verses 2 through 4. So just listen to this wisdom. My brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. Wow, right? Wow. So when you're in that consciousness of knowing that you can have and be worthy of all that your heart desires, you just have to do the work of being in that consciousness of knowing that it's already yours and staying in alignment and living these Christ teachings. You see, James metaphysically represents that judgment in us, our judgment of consciousness, so that when things happen, we can truly discern, well, is this worth my energy of getting all flustered about? Or can I just tweak my perception a little bit and see it a little bit differently? Like, when this thing comes up that I don't like, can I maybe say, I wonder what this is about. I wonder what gift is going to come from this little challenge, right? It changes your consciousness. Instead of being fretting and worrying and telling everybody how bad everything is, right? You take a deep breath and you feel and know that you have all the wisdom you need to exercise good judgment in your life and to make good decisions. And when you do that, you gain patience. Patience is a virtue, they say. It's not an easy thing, is it, when you're waiting for some answer or something to unfold? It's not easy, but it's so worth it. It is so worth it, especially in the midst of multiple trials in our lives. It's so worth it. We have everything that we need. So principle 3 in unity is God is, I am, I think. So our focus needs to be on the good that we expect. When you expect it, it comes to you. When you expect the good, the universe goes, okay, I see that, and that's what you receive. So Catherine Ponder, in this book on page 81, she shares a story about this famous designer. And he's an older guy now, but he was really poor as a young person. He had nothing, basically. And he built up this fortune. And he had like $3 million in his personal account and multi-million dollars in his business account. And so Catherine asked him, what was the secret of his success? And this is what he said. There is a prospering power in patience. I had to learn how to relax, to take care of what came, to digest it, and to learn from it. He said, if you strive too aggressively, you can scare away your good. There were many younger designers, he said, that didn't make it because they were impatient. They were trying to hurry things along, and this kept them from succeeding. So if you think about it, there are no like real straight lines to getting to our good, because it's more like a spiral, isn't it? We have some good, and then we have some not so good, and then we spiral back up, and we learn to see with our spiritual eyes instead of our physical eyes. So there are no straight lines. There aren't even any straight lines in nature. Things don't happen just like... So we have to be patient, and we have to allow, and we have to be in the beingness of allowing and surrendering and waiting for that tap. Because you know when you get that tap, don't you? You know when you're supposed to do something. Pick up that phone and call that aunt that you've been thinking about, right? You do it. You follow through when you get that tap. Because that's the way it works. We get those messages. And then what happens is your good unfolds sort of like a lotus blossom. You know, like one bud at a time. Just unfolds. Your good just keeps unfolding and keeps unfolding. But we have to remind ourselves, and this is a big one, to not beat ourselves up when something doesn't come exactly when we expect it, you know, because things have to unfold in their own time. We get impatient and we think, I prayed for a week and nothing happened. Doesn't work that way. And sometimes when it shows up, it looks completely different than what we had it in our mind. isn't it always better? It's always better than what we thought of, because our human mind tends to limit things, and our spiritual mind goes, well, wait, this or something better, right? So that's how we pray, this or something better. So we have to remind ourselves not to be disappointed when things don't happen exactly on the time frame that we expected. Fillmore, our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, in his book Prosperity, says this: you should expect prosperity when you keep the prosperity law. Therefore, be thankful for every blessing that you gain and be deeply grateful for every demonstration, as if an unexpected treasure has dropped into your lap. This will keep your heart fresh, for true thanksgiving may be likened to rain falling upon ready soil, refreshing it and increasing its productiveness. When you feel grateful in your heart, you emit a sort of attractiveness. It's like giving the universe permission, right, to bring to you what your heart desires. So when you're grateful for every little thing, I don't care if your roof blew off, you still have the rest of your house, and you're going to get a new roof, right? I mean, we have to really, sometimes we have to dig deep to see what the blessing is. But there's always a blessing there. And so he says to be grateful, because that energy draws to you that which you desire. So for those of you that are having prosperity challenges, I ran across a Chris Chenoweth poem. Reverend Chris Chenoweth has a website. He sends a daily email prayer, and it's positivechristianity.org. And so I printed out a few. If we run out, I'll make some more. But I printed out a prayer that he prayed that I saw this week on the email, and it's about unexpected income. And it's a long, beautiful prayer, but if you want to do some work around that, feel free to pick up one of those. And we also have 40 days of gratitude. If you are feeling lack in your life, then it's time for you to change your consciousness around. And we have one of these for each family, I believe, out there that Tracy printed out. It's a 40 days of gratitude, and believe me, you'll be different at the end of that. Heart math, that talks a lot about our heart energy and how we stay grounded and centered no matter what. Heart Math said this week in their email that gratitude is a powerful amplifier of heart energy. One of the quickest ways to offset stress and lift our mood is to feel gratitude for our lives. Gratitude and appreciation aren't just nice gestures, they said, but powerful emotions that activate the brain's reward pathways, feel-good hormones, and endorphins that can greatly improve our outlook on life. They said that scientists are currently studying this phenomena called helper's high. How when we do something authentic and meaningful for others, it opens our hearts and it provides us with an uplift, a renewal of spirit, and also health benefits. And we're all going for that. So as we enter into Thanksgiving week, let our hearts be open and our minds be ready to receive all the good that God has in store for us. All right, too much preaching and time for a joke. Okay, so this cowboy arrives at the pearly gates, and St. Peter is there, and he asks him, he says, so have you ever done anything of particular merit? And the cowboy says, well, as a matter of fact, I did. He said, recently I took a trip to South Dakota, to the Black Hills of South Dakota, and I ran upon this biker gang, and they were harassing this young woman. And he said, I told them to stop, and they wouldn't stop. And he said, if you don't stop, I'm going to beat you up. He said, they kept doing it, so I found the biggest, burliest, most tattooed one I could find, and I went up to him, I slapped his face, I knocked his bike over, and I pulled his nose ring out and threw it on the ground. He said, if anybody else has any trouble with that, I'll beat up the rest of you. And so St. Peter said, really? Really, you did that? He said, well, when did that happen? And the cowboy said, about 2 minutes ago. Okay. Yeah. So I want to close today with a poem that, I don't know if it's exactly a poem, but it looked like a poem. It's from Healing Letters. Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder, the heart of our movement. Just take these words in. Be still, be still, be still. God in the midst of you is substance. God in the midst of you is love. God in the midst of you is wisdom. Let not your thoughts be given over to lack, but let wisdom fill them with the substance and the faith of God. Let not your heart be a center of resentment or fear or doubt. Be still and know that at this moment, it is the altar of God, of love, love so sure and unfailing, love so irresistible and magnetic that it draws your supply to you from the great storehouse of the universe. Trust God. Use his wisdom. Prove and express his love. And that's the way it truly is this day. God bless you all. Namaste. Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody. And now it's time for us to give from the good that we have received into this sweet universe, and so into this sweet ministry. And whether you're watching online, hello, Zoom family, and giving through PayPal or Breeze, or whether you're here in the sanctuary and you have a gift, or whether you've given online, we bless it together with this blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, that this is so.